Alrighty, folks, we are live. If you're tuning in on the replay, thank you so much for being here. As always, drop me a comment with hashtag replay and let me know where you're listening from and that you're listening. First and foremost, that's what I want to know. I'm doing a quick check to see that we are live. We are live, and I can hear myself, which is always good. So far, so good. We've not had any errors, mistakes of going live, not being able to hear myself. Although in one episode, I'm not going to tell you which episode it was, I did forget to hit record on it till halfway through. But thankfully, we had the backup audio from StreamYard, which is a tool that we use as opposed to coming directly from this thing here. I'm excited for this show tonight, folks. It's going to be a good one. I've got a really good friend of mine on the show, and we're going to talk all about something that I'm passionate about, he's passionate about, and you should be passionate about as well. So I'm just going to get stuck into this as people coming in. Say hi, folks. Drop a comment and let me know where you're listening from, and you're going to enjoy this. As you can see from the title, we are talking all about how to attract the right customers and how to repel the bad people, because nobody wants bad customers. They are worse than having no customers at all, in my experience. So drop a comment, whether you're watching on the replay or live. Let me know where you're listening from. And as you do that, I am going to get started with the actual podcast intro. Also, please just drop a comment, drop a like, drop a heart, drop a whatever, because you're all listening on different platforms. LinkedIn, drop a insightful, maybe, and Facebook, drop a love heart. On YouTube, drop a thumbs up. Periscope, I have no idea what you can do on Periscope. To be honest, I just click the button. Jeremy is listening from Pullman. Oh, Pullman. I was like, where's that? Must be like Canada or something. Pullman in the pal shed. Awesome, man. Right, folks. Oh, by the way, Jeremy, I'm totally jealous of your shed. I think that thing is awesome, and I'm gonna build one day. Andrew, North Berwick. I love North Berwick. One of my favorite places. Steampunk Coffee is probably my second favorite coffee shop in Scotland. Gary, hi Gary. Thanks for tuning in, folks. I'm going to get started with the podcast because I have the very handsome man behind the scenes ready to go. So I'm going to hit record and we're going to do this. Hey, you are listening to the Funnels and Growth Show. My name is Gavin Bell, and I've discovered a little bit of a problem. You see, too many entrepreneurs are great at what they do, but they never see true growth. All too often, they rely on luck, hustle, and hope to grow, which, as you probably know, is not the best marketing strategy. So in this show, I aim to uncover the secrets around creating a marketing system that allows you to build your audience, generate more leads, and acquire customers at a profit, which is what we all want to do, right? And on today's show, we have somebody, a very special guest, someone that I've known for quite a long time now, going back, I think 5 or 6 years. And I've been with this guy. I've drank with this guy. I've danced with this guy. I've talked business with this guy. I've had a lot of fun times with this guy. And I'm excited because I've not spoken to him in quite a while. So this is a good old catch up over a podcast to talk about some good and important things. You know, he's a co-founder alongside his amazing partner, Lindsay, of Jammy Digital, a web design agency, and the Make Your Mark Online membership site, where they teach business owners how to transform their websites into sales machines. Important stuff, folks. Not just that, but he and Lindsay are the co-author of Content Fortress, a book that helps people use content marketing to attract the right clients and to repel the wrong ones, like I said in that introduction. Now, I just want you to go crazy wherever you are. Just go absolutely mental as I welcome the amazing Martin Huntbatch to the show. Welcome, Martin.
Mate, that's the best intro anyone has ever done for anybody, ever. That's just phenomenal. I'm glad I could be part of it.
Well, you need a good introduction for yourself, my fine friend. It's a pleasure to have you here.
Yeah, it's great to be. It's amazing that we're finally doing this. You know, when we've known each other for so long and actually doing stuff online, we're kind of off in our own little corners of the internet, aren't we? So it's nice to actually meet up and do something together. I'm feeling special.
Me and Martin met, like I say, 5 or 6 years ago at the Content Marketing Academy conference. I think it was the first place that we met. And yeah, you're right. We've kind of, we've almost like we do our own thing, and then we get together like once or twice a year. We, have a few too many drinks, and then we go off in our own ways, and we catch up the next year. So it's good to finally come and do something together like this, which is fun. I
Definitely.
have a
Yeah,
serious
it's
question.
exciting.
I have a serious question. Where's the afro gone?
I know, I know. It was time, I think. I sensed another lockdown coming. And I thought to myself, if I don't get it cut now, it's going to look ridiculous. I'm not going to be able to see because the afro is just going to be so big, it's going to be covering my eyes. And yeah, it was causing some visual impairments. I thought, you know what? Before the next lockdown, I'm going to get it chopped off. So I am missing it, and so's Lindsay. But you know, might be back
I
in the
love it.
future. Who knows?
I love it. Visual impairment. For those of you that are listening on the podcast, as you probably know by now, we record the shows live over on Facebook and LinkedIn and YouTube. And Martin over lockdown had a very impressive afro, which I think beat my lockdown afro. And you can see in the video that he's cut it off. So I was a little bit sad to see that.
Yeah.
Martin, your book, Content Fortress. First of all, I
Mm.
mean, it's just super exciting to me that you are an author and you have your own book now, which I want to dive into some of those things as we get into the show. But what I want to know is actually around the framework of Content Fortress. So, how did you come about creating your own framework? So, first of all, tell us what a Content Fortress is, and then I want to know, like, how did you and Lindsay come up with the framework?
Yeah, so it's a really interesting one because, like you, we've been following kind of content marketing and business books for years now. We've read everything there is to know about marketing. If it's in a book and it says marketing, we've read it and consumed it, and it's been, an amazing journey. I just feel like we ultimately got to a stage where we were doing something slightly different from what all of the other books were teaching us, and we kind of formulated our own system. And the term Content Fortress came from, I was speaking on stage at this event, and I told people about this process about 2 years ago now. And we were speaking about what we'd done based on loads of different marketing strategies out there, and how we've improved our business because of it. And we'd worked out that we'd created our own system from trialing and testing and working with clients, and attracting people that we wanted to work with, but also attracting people we actually didn't want to work with, and what we could do with our marketing in order to protect us so that we were only attracting the ideal customers. So the term Content Fortress comes from and people just connected with the Content Fortress, the name that we gave it. But the idea of a Content Fortress is each piece of content that you create is another stone in your fortress, and it can either be an additional piece of content, like all of the other pieces of content online, which is the top 10 best social media tools, or why should we be using WordPress and things like that. That's just churned out. People churn this kind of content out so much. We just worked out that if you create content a particular way, you were able to appeal to certain people you really, really wanted to appeal to, but you're also able to put a barrier in the place for the people that clearly are not going to be the right fit, people who can't afford to work with you. And we just thought, why are people spending so much of their time in their business responding to these people who are clearly never going to be the right fits? And people, converting at 50-60% of the leads that come in through the business, where 40% of those people are completely wasting your time. And it's not because they're necessarily bad people, they're just not right for you and your business. I mean, from dealing with clients and running your own agency, people get in touch and they don't, know how much you charge. They don't know your internal processes. They might not be able to fit within your process, and that's okay. But I do feel as though it's a very, very simple method that we have carved out, where if you just produce certain pieces of content, you are able to have that fortress. And it's not just a case of, repelling everybody. You'll know that there are certain people that get in touch with you that might just need a little bit of education, and then they are the right customers. And it's about how you can use content to get them from a complete beginner, not knowing anything there is about your business, to the stage where they are completely raving fans of yours. And with content and using a kind of funnel type approach, with your content, you can make these customers absolutely fall in love with you. And so that's kind of where the Content Fortress element comes in. And we broke it down into 8 individual pillars of different types of content that you can create. So it came from, in answer to your other question, in terms of the strategy of kind of how we came up with it. We've done a lot of research, a hell of a lot of research into the different types of content that people produce. We love consuming content as well as producing content. But in terms of the best research we found was from running our own business and documenting the kind of inquiries that we get on a regular basis, using the conversations that we have, and rather than just keep having the same conversation with the same people, we essentially came up with a system where we said, listen, if this is the same type of inquiry that we're constantly getting all the time and the same types of questions, then isn't it better for us to create content for that particular issue? And not just a case of answering all the questions under the sun that people ask us, but if that same person has indicated that they're not the right fit for us and they're asking a certain type of question, but we're still speaking to those kind of people all the time, then there has to be a way for us to clean up our process, really, so that we're kind of hacking our, I suppose, our inquiries right through to sale in a way that just means that only the best people are coming through. And it's a way that it can be automated, and it's a system that can be very easily created for anyone who's watching or listening. If you just create certain pieces of content, you can improve your productivity as well in your business. You've got a job to do. You don't want to be constantly tackling new inquiries. And I know your podcast and what you talk about a lot of the time is how you can bring in more leads and sales into your business and generating more leads. And we know, we generate a lot of leads and a lot of traffic using content. It's just that we got to a point when we understood the value of producing high quality content, and we saw our traffic increase. We increased our traffic by 10 times within 12 months when we started churning out lots of content. But we still didn't solve the problem of who's a good fit for our business and who's not a good fit for our business. And that's where the Content Fortress comes in very handy. And that's why we, started to speak about it and plan. And that's where the book idea came from, really.
Oh, there's so much to unpack here, which is awesome. I think, what you talk about there is in terms of the Content Fortress and of almost as a qualification process is a completely different way to look uh, at content and publishing than quite a lot of people look at it. I think I think a lot of people look at content creation as purely being an audience building exercise. I need to post to try and build my audience. I need to post on Instagram to get more followers, but they don't to get more leads, right? But they don't look at it as a qualification process as well as a lead generation process, which I think is absolutely crucial. And we always do talk about generating more leads from ads and things because that's what I do. But one of the conversations that we always come up with clients is lead generation is all about an equation of quality versus quantity. Like you can generate all the leads you want, but if you're not generating quality leads, then it's just a total waste of time, energy, and resources. So what I love about the idea of Content Fortress is this idea that you can generate more leads, but ensure that they understand every single part of your business. So first of all, the sales process is easier, but second of all, they are qualified, and you know that you're going to be able to get those, which is at the end of the day the most important thing. I also just love that, I'm quite a visual person, and I just love this idea of every piece of content that you produce is another brick in the fortress. For me, that's like, it just totally makes sense. That one sentence, I was like, "Yep, I get it. I get it."
Yeah, and it's interesting because we've been there and we've produced lots of fluff content in the past where we have produced, the top 10 ways to do this and the top 10 ways to do that. And that's great for driving traffic. Producing high quality content in general is amazing if you can do that. But actually, it's just not always going to lead to sales. Traffic doesn't always lead to sales. Leads don't always lead to sales. It is about that quality. And we would prefer to have 100, 200 people on our email list if they're all buying from us versus having 1,000 people and have one or two. That's the real difference that we found, especially with our inquiries that we get through our agency. When we send out a proposal, it's pretty much going to go ahead. 90% of our proposals go ahead, and probably more than 90% now. But last time we checked, every single proposal that we were sending out, we would roughly get 9 out of 10 people that would say, yeah, it's, and we knew that when we sent them the proposal because they were already so well educated, not just on the price, which happens to be one of the pillars in the Content Fortress, but also the process, how they work with us, what to expect through various stages, then what to expect at the end of it. They get to know us through our content. They get to know what we like and what we dislike, what we agree with, what we disagree with, and all of this in the Content Fortress methodology is ticking all of these boxes to make sure that when someone buys from you, they already know everything there is to know about you. They already know all of these things on a personal level and about you as a brand, because that's highly important as well. People can fall in love with your brand and they're more likely to work with you. They don't want to just work with someone who isn't, they can't have that connection with. And we're talking about this a little bit before the call, and that plays a huge part in the book as well, funnily enough, that you were speaking about that, about this polarizing content. But ultimately, it just makes the process completely seamless from start to finish. So rather than you just producing a hell of a lot of content at the start to get the customer, then what? That's the problem that's the mistake that people make. It's just let's just pile everyone in the top of the funnel, and then as soon as we've got the money, great. But if you don't have a content process in place from that moment when they give you the money, then that's when things like buyer's remorse starts to pop up. If you've got loads of customers giving you money, that's amazing. But how are they all going to feel once they've given you that money if you don't have the content to educate them through to the final steps in the process? And we've only created a process like this for ourselves over time. It wasn't always this way. It wasn't always this simple, but you have to work out where the kinks are in your business and where the issues lie so that you can create content in order to tackle that problem. If we're building websites and we know that we have an issue in terms of getting content from a client, then you need to create content in order to tackle that problem so that you can prevent it before it happens. So we very much say that's something we say in the book and the course as well, which is it's very much a proactive prevention strategy rather than just let's just create more content, because that's what people think content marketing is. It's just communication. I think that's the one word that I would use to describe this kind of content, how you can guide people through to buy from you, knowing everything that happens from start to finish. And then when they work with you, you use content in order to continue that relationship. Oh, by the way, you need to do this at this stage. Here's a piece of content to assist you. You need to do this at this stage. Here's another piece of content to assist you. And your content becomes a little bit like a VA. Rather than have a VA constantly update the client with brand new information every time, create the content once and use it for all of your prospects going forward so that they don't feel that buyer's remorse. They give you the money, they're excited to work with you, and you've constantly got all of these amazing resources to help people. A problem is early on, I realized that I needed to start putting the stuff that was in my head down on paper or email. And when you do that and you've got that content and you create it for one person, then create it for all of the future people that have that issue, that problem, that question, that concern, and then use that content at various stages throughout the project to keep people happy and the project moving on nice and quickly. But it just comes from knowing your business and iterating and continuously creating content in order to improve your business as well and make your time more efficient.
Yeah, this is fascinating stuff. It's a completely different way of looking at content and publishing, which I think is really cool. And I think people that are listening are probably going to be having a bit of light bulb moments here, going, "Oh crap! Maybe I need to get a bit of pen and paper here and listen to this episode rather than driving my car." So I want to talk about this idea of creating, educational content or pieces of content throughout the sales process. And I presume in the examples that you're giving is because you do web design. It's pieces of content that might be things such as how long does the web design project take, which you can then give to the client and they then know, as opposed to them going, when's my website going to be done? So in terms of creating pieces of content like this, because I think the general consensus of people when it comes to creating content is, like I said, they want to build their audience. And the metric that people typically look at when it comes to building their audience is how many clicks did it get, how many likes did it get, how much engagement did it get. So when you're creating content such as well, these education pieces, these pieces throughout the sales process, my gut would tell me that these aren't particularly engaging pieces of content when it comes to like a social media feed. So what how do you look at them? Are you trying, and I want to say that versus, if you're doing top 10 something, something clickbaity.
Yeah. Hmm.
How do you I'm trying to think what my actual question is here is like how do you get over the fact that you're probably not going to get much engagement from a piece of
Hmm.
content? Or do you try and tailor it so you do get the engagement? What's your kind of your thought process behind that?
Well, it's an interesting one because if we were to put it in from your perspective, advertising, funnels, things like that, the closest kind of analogy I could use to what you do is let's let's create a very, very basic funnel and let's just throw loads of money at it. Let's not test anything. Let's not iterate. Let's just say, here's a basic funnel. We think it'll work. And let's just chuck so many people at this advertising at the front of the funnel and then hope that the rest of it works out and it's going to lead to loads of, amazing back end sales and it's going to be really, really profitable. That's the kind of thing that we're doing when we create content. It's okay, let's just draw loads of traffic into our business, but let's not actually use content in order to get people from one step to the next step to the next step. In the book, we use an example where somebody's been able to use content at the very start of the journey in order to preemptively sell other products at the end. And then that's something that can be done for content. So it can be really, really, really helpful. It's not always going to be the most engaging piece of content, and that's why you can't just use that kind of content. You have to have a little bit of content within that to educate people and to get them to know you. You can't just produce content to assist them during the process, the buying process, because some people aren't there yet. So you do need to have content for various stages in the process. But if you don't have a super clean system within the back end of your business or while someone's working with you, then chucking loads of money at Facebook ads or writing loads of content to get loads and loads of traffic isn't really going to change or improve your business that much more. And that's kind of the same thing, really, as far as we're concerned. In terms of growing your business, get traffic is just one of the elements. Facebook ads is just one of the elements. Running a podcast is just one of the elements, but there's so much extra work that goes into actually working with people and building long-lasting relationships. And that's where kind of the process content comes in. But yeah, it can be incredibly powerful. And when it comes to actually getting the sale, so when somebody actually gets in touch with you and they say, "Oh, I really want to work with you. It sounds really interesting. I just have a few extra questions," then that's a real cue for you to think, okay, what are the questions? How can I create this piece of content or numerous pieces of content in order to tackle that question before that person even asks? So things like, okay, so what happens as soon as I give you my money? That's something that's not going to get a lot of traffic and a lot of shares and a lot of likes on social media, but that's something that every single person that ever works with you forever, no matter what business you run, that's something that someone's got in their mind. When I hand over my money and I pay that first invoice, what's the next step? What's the next step out of that after that? And what's the next step after that? So you can create, one of the simplest ways to create content to tackle this is by writing down each individual step in your sales process from start to finish, and actually producing one piece of content and breaking it down. And we did this when we a few years ago when we were building websites, is that we broke down the 31 step for every single client and what happens. But then what you could do is you could take one of those steps and you could create a single piece of content. For instance, if one of the steps for us is we get content from you for your website so that we can add it to your website, that's nice, breaking down the big 31 steps, but actually you could write loads of pieces of content about that single step. Here's how to write content for your about page. Here's how to write a sales page or a service page. There's so many additional pieces of content that can stem off from that. And that's why there's really no limit to the amount of content that you can create. So sometimes what happens is you'll start and you'll say, oh, this doesn't feel like the most engaging piece of content ever. But when you break down all of the steps in your journey, and again, this is something we talk about in more detail, but you've got 31 potential other pieces of content that you can create from that. And again, some of it will then go back to being really, really helpful for people that might not be your ideal customer. That kind of content might be really engaging. Top 10 steps on how to create a sales page. That's going to benefit lots of people who don't know who you are. It's going to drive a lot of traffic, but it's also going to help that customer at that specific point in your buying process. So it can be used to create additional pieces of content that can help lots of people. So yeah, I would argue that some of these pieces of content are more helpful for your customers, but not as helpful for everybody. But it's just swings and roundabouts, really. It does come back full circle.
Yeah, and I think a big thing to think about and consider here is likes, comments, and shares aren't currency; they don't pay the bills. And so,
Mm.
focusing your content on the people that matter the most, i.e., your customers, is a smart move. But I think I like what you say there about trying to mix it up and include different pieces of content for different people in different parts of their buying journey with you, whether that's they've already purchased and you're sending them kind of what's next, or whether that's someone that doesn't know who you are and but does need, in your case, a website. So I think that's really cool. I love that one piece of content that everybody listening can go away and do, which is what happens next, because that's a
Mm.
question. If you're client services, it's a question every customer will ask or will be thinking, right? When I pay
Mhm.
this invoice, what happens next? Yeah,
Yeah, and
that's
you don't have to create email responses for every single one of them. We've started collating email templates. So what happens when we start working with you? What happens when we send you a mock-up of the website? Is literally copy and paste for us to say, great, here we are in the process, and here's a blog post to assist you to answer all your questions. It feels very, very bespoke, but if we're sending the same emails out to every single person and we're making our time more efficient and we're trying to be as productive as we can, then it gets to the stage when you've got content, it gets to the stage when you've got emails, it gets to the stage where you're having the same conversations. So you have to systematize it to because you know what's coming next. If you know your business and you've been doing it for years, it's just about hacking your way through it in order to make it more efficient. It just makes a big difference.
I like that. I like the term hacking your way through it. I think that's cool. Martin, one of the things that you talk about in the book is around like poor clients, bad clients, and the mental health issues that can surround that, which I think is a really interesting thing and something I want to talk about. Um, you talk about how the content fortress can I think, well, first of all, I think everybody has had bad clients. If you're in client services, you've experienced those bad clients, the ones that email you at terrible time o'clock and have nothing but negativity to share with you, probably pay you late, and are just all around terrible. We've all been there, and it all happens to us. But you talk about how the content fortress can remove those people, and
Mhm.
thus improve your mental health and improve your general happiness and life. So talk to me about that. Like, how do you use the content fortress to not just attract more people to your site, to build traffic, to generate leads, to help people through the sales process, but also to repel those bad clients and I guess nip it in the bud before they become an issue?
Exactly. Yeah. Because it takes an awful lot of time. And not just when we've all worked with bad clients in the past and you think, I'll never do that again. Think about how much time that's taken you. But it's not just about the time when you're working with that kind of client. It's the time when they get in touch with you and spend an awful lot of time asking you questions when you know in the back of your mind, based on the things that they're saying, that they're clearly not in the right mindset to be working with you. But you still want to be polite. You still want to be, educational and helpful, because that's the kind of business that we run, and that's the kind of business you run as well. You don't just want to be rude to people and say go somewhere else. So it's the idea of repelling these people so that they never even get in touch in the first place. And it's not just about the clients who we call the enemy, which are the kind of clients who you've explained about, which are the people who are rude, that pay late, that are clearly not the right fit for you. There is a sort of gray area client, which we call the damsel in distress. And the reason that we included this in the book is because some people that will get in touch with you will absolutely love you. They'll want to work with you. They'll save up all their money to work with you, and they'll be great people, and they won't be rude, and they'll pay on time, and they'll call within office hours. But it's not the right time for them to hire you. they're not in the right frame of mind, and it's your job in order to use content to repel both of these people. So repelling content is the first pillar in the content fortress in the book. So the idea really, you want to create content in order to attract people, but yes, repel the enemy and also the damsel as well. And I know we say damsel, but it's men and women. They can, interchange throughout the enemy and the damsel and all of the other amazing clients you work with as well. But ultimately, you can create content to say, listen, if you are not ready yet, here is a piece of content in order to tell you that you're not ready yet. And you can do it in an ultra polite way. And this is something that you actually have been doing a lot of recently, Gavin, that you probably aren't even aware of, which is you produce content on Facebook that says, listen, don't spend money on Facebook ads if you're not in this frame of mind. If you're doing this, don't hire me. I don't want to know. I mean, I'm sure that probably you remember posting that. It wasn't that long ago I saw that and I screenshotted it and thought, great. That's repelling content. The idea of putting content out there that says, I spotted something from Gavin actually, and it's going to make me not get in touch with him. Because originally I thought I was in this frame of mind and I thought I just need to get Gavin and he'll fix everything for me. But you said, look, if you've not sold any of your products without Facebook ads, then don't spend money on Facebook ads because it's not going to work. That's perfect, because if that client ever did work with you and you didn't have that piece of content, and further down the line, after they've spent loads of money with you and they realize, I'm really not happy about this because I've spent money with you, your piece of content has prevented that from happening. So not only are they not going to get results from working with you, they're going to be pretty frustrated because they've spent money with you as well. And it's not your fault, but it's far better for you to just draw a line in the sand and say, listen, if you're not the right, if you are one of these things, then you're not in the position to hire me or another agency right now. And that might be, you want it done yesterday. It could be you want it done cheap. It could be you've not tested your offer yet. So it doesn't always have to be you're really rude. It could just be you're rude all the way through to you're not quite ready yet. So that's what repelling content's about, really. And if you can create content in order to repel people, what it really does in a lot of ways is actually allows you to position yourself as a higher authority, and it gives you a little bit more of a VIP element to your business, where you actually say, we don't just take on everyone. We're not desperate for everyone's money. We only want to help people who we really, really want to help and who we feel as though they're in the right place in order to get the most success and the best ROI from working with us. And if that's not you, that's fine. Come back later.
Yeah. What I love about this is it's taking an approach. It's taking what could be an uncomfortable conversation, i.e., okay, we're probably not the right fit for you, which can be an uncomfortable
Yeah.
conversation,
Mm.
and you're leading with an educational, helpful. You're doing it in an educational, helpful way, which one makes your life a little bit easier because you don't have to have that awkward conversation, but also is a beneficial thing for that person, which I think is awesome. And I love this idea that as you create repelling content, it adds the VIP element to your business, which I think is something that is never going to be a bad thing. One of the
Mm-hmm.
pieces of content, and by the way, everybody that's listening to this should go and check out Martin Lindsay's website, because just everything we're talking about, they're doing. So you can go and see a real live example of what they're doing. But one of the pieces of content that I love, and I actually talk about quite often when I'm speaking to people around this topic, is you have blogs on your website that are titled, "Why are we so expensive?" Which
Yeah.
is like, it's just such a good way, because if anybody that's ever wondering, well, why are they so expensive? Because, and this is what I want to talk to you about next, is you mentioned price on your website. It's like, well, this is why we're so expensive. This is why. And, if
Mm-hmm.
you agree with that, then perfect. You're going to be a good customer, probably. If you don't agree with that, well, I've not wasted my time trying to explain our worth to you, because we already know what our worth is. So, speaking of which, pricing on your website,
Mm-hmm.
something quite a lot of people are scared to do, right? They're
Absolutely.
because they either think that, well, we're bespoke. Every price is different. Every business is different. But in reality, that's really not the case, is it? So I want to ask you, like, your personal experience of mentioning price on the website, because we can talk about why it's important and why people should do it. But I'd love to just hear, or for you to share your personal experience of putting price on the website. Like, how long have you had it on your website? Since putting it on your website, did you notice a decline in leads, or did you find that people were better? Was there no difference at all? What what experience have you found from doing it?
Well, I actually came from a sales background. Back in the day when I was 18, I was a salesperson. And the rule of thumb when it came to sales was hold as much as you can back, get as much information from the potential client and customer, and then present an offer based on what they've said. And that's how I feel. And I look back now and I think, wow, that was really outdated at the time. But people are still doing that now. People are still saying, I really need to speak to that person. I'm able to build up a little bit of momentum and I can speak to them. And even if we're a bit more expensive, if I get them on the phone, then I'm going to be able to convert them into a customer more. I'm going to have more control over it. Whereas if I just put my prices on my website, I'm going to be seen as a bit of a commodity and people are just going to shop around. But in reality, that's not true. Not for most service-based businesses. I understand that a lot of people still feel that way, but 90% of our leads go through to sale because we put our prices on our website. And like I say, that's probably lower than what it actually is. But I'm just to be safe, I'd say 90% of our sales go through to, or proposals go through to sales because they know the price from the outset. Because we're not spending an inordinate amount of time on the phone with these people when all they're going to come and say is, oh, I really can't afford that. And actually, we had someone get in touch with us not long ago where they got in touch and they said, "Oh, we love you guys. We heard you on a podcast. I really want to work with you guys. We've been reading all of your content. Can we book a call?" And in our sales process, what we actually do is before we book a call and we have a call with somebody, if they've not read a particular pricing content, pricing blog post or the pricing page, we then loop that back in before we book a call with them. So what we actually say, we call these people, this person wasn't this, but we call these people content dodgers. So if they try to get in touch and try to book a call with you, but they haven't consumed the right kind of content, then we loop that back in so that before we speak to them, we say, listen, I would love to have a chat with you. It sounds really exciting. Just before we do that, and we always say it very deliberately, just before we book a call, just wanted to send you a couple of pieces of helpful content that will educate you more about how to work with us. So then we send them kind of the 31 steps of how we build your website from start to finish. But we also say, how much do we charge for a website? I'll send them a link to our pricing page. And on that pricing page, it says that we charge from. So it doesn't say what we charge exactly. So you're not kind of putting yourself in a corner, but we kind of say an average small business website would cost this. If you're a larger business, it would cost from this, but an average, and you can say, plenty of agencies do in between this and this. So you can do from price, you can do an in between price, but just from simply telling people the minimum that you charge, it does an awful lot to repel those people. So this person got that email and they said, actually, don't worry about the call right now. We're not in a position, we can't really afford that, but thanks so much for the content. Great, that's what you want, isn't it? You don't want these people who are overly excited wanting to work with you, taking up half an hour or an hour of your time in order for you to say, I'm sorry, I can't help because I can't discount my prices that much. And there's a lot more, your skin's in the game then. You've already spent that time. You might end up bending your processes a little bit to work with these people because they love you and they're amazing and they can pay on time. It might not be as much as you used to charge, but you end up bending your processes and giving into temptation and perhaps working with a client and charging a lot less than you ordinarily would do. It's just better for you to just stop that. Head on, and pricing is one of the pillars in the book as well. So it's a vital part, and there's plenty of ways that you can do that using content. And again, it just increases your level of authority and your quality when you're able to articulate why you price your products a certain way. And you're constantly increasing your attraction with the ideal customers, and you're constantly just batting off the people who are not going to be right fit for you, can't afford your prices, and it's just that's it. You're just increasing these people and decreasing these people. It just makes for a very, very enjoyable business, especially when every inquiry that you get is just perfect.
Yeah, and thanks for sharing that personal story, because I think one of the things about these types of podcasts is we can talk about why you should include price and stuff, but I think hearing an actual example makes it real for people. And I think the key from what I took from that is it's just important to discuss it, because if
Mm-hmm.
your leads or the people that are wanting to work with you are are going to have the question, how much does it cost? And nobody's ever going to buy from you without asking how much it costs. It just makes sense to address it. You don't have to say, is this down to the penny? But if you talk about, like you say, from or between, then at least you're discussing it. And it means that people are then, well, it makes your life a lot easier, to be honest, when you get on the phone. So for those of you
Really does.
that do not like sales, which I know there's a lot of people out there who don't like sales, then there's a quick and easy way to make the sales experience much easier. Martin, it's time to play a game.
Okay. Exciting.
It's like the Highland Games, but on a podcast.
The rules are simple. It's a 5-second rule. Have you ever heard of it?
No.
Okay. I have 10 cards here with 10 different statements, and the rules are simple. Like I say, I'm going to read out each statement, and you've got 5 seconds to give me your answer. So that might be something like name 3 types of ice cream, and you have 5 seconds to go vanilla, chocolate, strawberry. Get it in 5 seconds, you get the point. You don't get the point.
Awesome.
Feeling good?
I'm feeling really nervous, but that's fine. I always know it would be on a game show.
You have to be. You've got to be fast for this, I got to say. Okay, let's do this. Timer is out. Name 3 types of chemical.
Hydrogen, chlorine, and sodium.
Nice. That was a tough start. 3.7.
It was. You lulled me into a false sense of security with your vanilla, chocolate, and strawberry, Gav. I've got to admit it.
It's going to be really obscure. So that was a tough start, but you did well. Name 3 things that can fly.
Bird, airplane, owl.
Nice. I mean, technically could come under birds, but I'm going to give it to you.
Yeah, it could.
Speaking of owl, name 3 animals in trees.
Squirrel, owl, and
Time's out. Sorry.
Terrible.
Name 3 words ending with AT. At. Ooh, time.
No idea.
Nothing.
I failed English. Failed it. I couldn't even tell you now.
Name 3 ways a fire can start.
Cigarettes, oven, and microwave.
Sorry, time's out. We're halfway through. You got 2 out of 5.
Okay.
Name 3 famous Williams.
William Shakespeare, William of Orange, and William the Conqueror. Is that right?
I have no idea, but I'm going to give it to you.
That's fine. Yeah, I'll take those.
So there we are. Okay. Name 3. Oh, this is a cute one. Name 3 great things in your life.
My little boy, Lucas, my wife, Lindsay, and my business, Jammy.
Oh my gosh. If you didn't get that, you were in trouble. Name 3 occupations.
Footballer, podcaster, and business owner.
Nice. Name 3 events involving horses.
Polo, the Grand National, and hurdles.
Gotta love
Horses
hurdles.
jump hurdles.
I'm going to give it to you. Name 3 things beginning with the letter P.
Pie, peas, and pudding.
Nice. Okay, here we are. What did Martin get? Martin, you got 7 out of 10. That's it.
I'll take it.
You started well. You had a dodgy middle, and you ended well. That's a respectable score. It's a very respectable.
I'll take it. Better than I ever did in any pub quiz, so I'll take that.
Fortunately, we've got no prize in this one. But it is now time for the rapid fire round.
Time for the rapid fire round. 10 questions, 10 answers, no context. Are you ready?
Okay, so I'm going to give you 10 different questions. You've got to give me the answers to those questions, but you're not allowed to give me any context to them.
Okay.
I might ask context, in which case you are allowed to give me context, but you just have to give me the answer. Context. So what is your favorite book?
They ask you answer.
Nice. Great book. What's your favorite word?
Dodecahedron.
That's a good one. What, yeah. Okay. Most hated food.
Mushrooms.
Yeah. Well, actually, no. I said yeah to agree, but I actually really enjoy mushrooms. I used to not like them. What's your biggest pet peeve, either business or personal?
I like this question. I feel like I want to take an hour to answer it. It's a nice question. Biggest pet peeve. People saying that there's only one option to get success. You know, it's only content marketing. It's only Facebook. That's all you have to do. Nothing else matters. The idea of there being one size fits all, which is annoying.
Yeah, I hear you on that. Everybody wants to say there's one thing to, so we all try and buy their stuff. I'm just laughing in the background here, because Lindsay, which is Martin's partner, everybody, is finding the fact that he answered "owl" hilarious in the comments. So I just wanted to point that out. It was quite funny. What was your dream job as a child?
I wanted to be an architect.
Interesting.
Yeah.
What's your favorite music genre?
Music genre. Musicals. Yeah.
Wow. I would not.
Yeah, musicals. Absolutely.
I would have put you down as like a rock man.
No.
Interesting.
No, I'm not that cool. I'm definitely just going to go all in there and be honest with you.
Fair. Let's go then. What's your favorite musical?
Well, I really like The Greatest Showman, to be honest. I know it's kind of like not a proper, original, but I love it. I love it. I used to watch loads of stuff, like all the musicals with my older sister. Everything that was out there, Grease, Annie, I used to just get it kind of like pelted at me. So I thought I might as well like it.
So like a musical question and a pub quiz. You're the man.
Yeah.
What's your drink of choice?
Coffee. Yeah.
Morning or night person?
Night, definitely. I'm not a morning person.
Would you rather cuddle a baby panda or a baby chimpanzee?
A chimpanzee, because it would closely resemble my son.
Well, what is one final piece of advice that you'd like to give the audience, Martin?
Well, it's something that we say in our book quite a lot, which is people don't care what you say; they care what you publish.
Oh,
Okay.
more about that. That's got the brain cells going.
Well, it comes from you spot it quite a lot. Whenever you're speaking to someone like a salesperson, or we use the example quite a lot of an estate agent. And when somebody is telling you something and you don't quite believe them, maybe it's just they just want to get the sale and they're talking to you and they're trying to tell you that, oh yeah, you should do it this way and should do it that way. Would you feel confident enough to publish that information on your website for the world to see? Or are you just saying that to get the sale? So in our business, it's okay for us to tell them that, oh, here's how to rank on Google and stuff like that. But would you actually publish it on your website? Would you spend the time to educate someone and put it as literally, on paper to convince that person that you are telling the truth? Because people they just don't care what you say when you're trying to get the sale off you. They just care what you publish. And if you're prepared to put something on your website and prepared to write something, it's a lot more helpful and it's a lot more convincing. So that's just something we try to live by.
That's good. I like that. And it links back in everything you've spoken about today. If people don't care what you say when you're trying to make the sale, but if you can publish the things that you want to say before the sale, they will believe that. That's good. Wow. Nice. That is a great way to end. Martin, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on the show. Thank you so much for being here.
Oh, it's been fun. Thanks so much for having me. It's been awesome.
Yeah, it's been good to catch up, and also good to, for those of you that are listening, like I said at the beginning, we do this live, and there's some comments coming in. People are absolutely loving this, so it's been amazing. Martin, tell everybody where they can learn more about your membership, your agency, your book, and all of the amazing things that you do.
Yeah, so the Content Fortress book/course is available at contentfortress.com. The agency is jammydigital.com. And we have a membership as well where we help people produce better content and create amazing websites. And that's at makeyourmarkonline.net. So that's it.
Go and check those 3 things out, folks. Honestly, like if you enjoyed what we spoke about today, go and check out those sites. Whether you want to buy the book, whether you want to join the membership, or whether you just want to have a little nosy and look at some of the content that they're publishing and get some ideas for what you can do for your business. It's well worth going and checking out. So please do. Martin, like I say, it's been an absolute pleasure. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. For those of you that are listening to the show, if you've enjoyed it as well, please be sure to hit subscribe. Take a screenshot of your phone, whatever you are listening on, whether you're listening on, I don't know where I'm going with this. I was going to say whether you're listening on a phone or whether you're listening on a, I don't know. I don't know what I was going to say actually, but in my head I had, one of those like ring, the phones where you like, you spun around the number like the old fashioned phones.
Yeah. I can't get you out of this mess you got yourself into, Gav. I'm not gonna lie.
Live streaming and podcasting. What I'm trying to say, folks, is if you enjoyed this, screenshot it, share on Instagram, tag us in it, and tell us what you took away from this show. It's been an absolute pleasure. Martin, once again, thanks so much for being here.
I've loved it. Thanks so much, mate.
And for everyone listening, see you all in the next one.
Bye-bye.
Boom. 48 minutes on the second. That was fun. We are still live.
Loved it.
Thanks so much for that.
Yeah, it was fun. I love the little quizzes, the little games. That's awesome.
We get to really know you.
Yeah.
Joanna has ordered her book already, which is awesome.
Nice. Oh, thanks so much.
Andrew
means a lot.
Andrew says, some good insights here. Every piece of content that you produce is another brick in the fortress. 90% of proposals getting accepted as clients are already informed about you and your brand. And people want to work with people that they have a connection with. True of that. Joanna, you just gotta love the no boundary time hoovers. Sure do. Andrew, repelling content, like the concept. This is marketing lead generation gold dust. Sure is. Lindsay.
Oh, thanks.
I will comment. That was what's making.
What did she say?
She just said I will, and then a ton of laughing emojis. You're sitting listening, going, I will. Dawn said, what's your favorite musical? Well, Martin answered that, so I presume you're asking me, Dawn. My favorite musical, and I have to be honest, I'm so bad with all musical / film stuff. So I don't know. I really don't know. I think the only musical I've watched is The Greatest Showman. I think that's the only musical I've watched, so that's going to have to be.
Did you love it though? Because if you did, next time we meet, we're going on karaoke together.
Well, yes. I just have to say yes to that then, because it's like an absolute ball. Amazing. Folks, if you've been tuning in live, thanks so much. Dawn says good choice. Thanks so much for tuning in live. I appreciate you. If you are tuning in, Evan says this was really interesting. If you are tuning in on the replay, thanks so much for being here. Drop a comment with #replay. Let us know what your biggest takeaway was from this, because it's been cool to see Andrew and some other people commenting and letting us know what the takeaways are. It's great for me as the person to see what you guys are resonating with, and it's great for Martin to see what his message is resonating. So please continue to do that every time I go live with amazing guests. Martin, it's been a pleasure once again.
It's been amazing.
You so much. Everybody that's tuning in live or the replay, again, thanks so much for being here. I appreciate you, and I will see you all later in the week.
Thanks so much. Bye.